Vám prajeme z jazykovej školy Klás. Moje meno je Libuša. John, can you please
Hello.
come here?
And hello. How's everybody?
A toto je John. Can you come a little bit closer here? Yes, that's better. See, now they can see us. Takže my by sme asi ako prvú vec hneď na začiatok chceli vyriešiť úplne prozaickú, jednoduchú vec. Či nás vidíte a či nás počujete. Prosím, napíšte nám teraz do správ, či toto všetko sme zvládli aj my, aj vy. Toto je úplný základ. Takže začnem asi tým, že ešte jednu otázku sa spýtam, a to, že či máte pripravené všetky veci, ktoré dnes na maľovanie budete potrebovať. A kým si to pripravíte a kým nám odpíšete, tak poviem vám možno trošku viac o týchto našich art workshops, ktoré my pre vás teda momentálne teraz organizujeme takto live, ale celkovo náš John je lektor a takisto aj írsky umelec, je hlavne teda írsky maliar, ale zároveň je sochár, pracoval aj pre noviny, má nejaké hry napísané, dokonca niektoré jeho hry boli aj v írskej podobe spracované, pretože sú to väčšinou také funny stories. A John sa na mne smeje, pretože ani nevie, o čom hovorím, keďže vôbec po slovensky nerozumie, ale nevadí, keď ja niekde tu a tam vložím anglické slovo, tak vôbec netuší, čo hovorím. Takže možno, že tu kľudne môžem rozprávať aj škaredé veci a nebude vedieť, ale samozrejme to nie je náš cieľ. Chceme povedať vlastne to, že anglické hodiny sú jedna vec, ale výtvarné workshopy sú zase vec druhá. A teda Johnovi ide aj jedno, aj druhé. My sme sa rozhodli to spojiť práve preto, že cez tú angličtinu a cez tú výtvarnú sa to nejak celkom dobre spája, lebo to, čo vlastne on rozpráva a zároveň vy alebo deti vytvárate, včera sme mali už prvý workshop o 10 ráno pre deti, tak vlastne tam sa to tak krásne spája v tom, že vy môžete v tomto prípade len pasívne počúvať, pozerať a tvoriť, ale my máme normálne hodiny cez Google Meet, kde sa aj aktívne deti a takisto aj dospelí zapájajú. Takže dnes vás vítame na takom jednom workshope, kde budeme s vami komunikovať cez správy a preto ja budem teda sedieť za počítačom a nechám už priestor Johnovi. Tak áno, vidím, že dostali sme nejaké správy, že ste pripravení, tak teda začneme. OK, John, the stage is yours.
Okay, you've probably heard I don't speak Slovak, so I have to rely on Libuš to translate your questions, and I'll answer in English and she can translate back. Unless some of you out there have enough English that we can communicate without a mediator. Now, so, what are we doing? Well, I promised we would have a go at a landscape today. And I trawled through the internet to see if I could find a suitable landscape that would be interesting enough but not too difficult. And I found this lovely photograph of the Tatras. I wonder, does anybody recognize it? I don't know. Do you recognize that hotel somewhere in the Tatras? I just thought it's a very interesting subject. The photograph is a little bit garish, but nonetheless there's enough elements in it to make an interesting painting out of this. So I think we can have some fun today, and I think you're going to learn something. So, where do we begin? Okay. You hopefully printed out the photograph. If you didn't, you can bring it up on your screen on your laptop. The colors will be close enough, and we can work from that. Some paints. Okay, let's have a look. Now, I use very expensive acrylic paints, and I'm going to use a plate today so that I can hold it up like this and show you how I mix them. So I'm using a lemon yellow. If you, I can make a list of these actually, Libuš, and send it to people if they're interested for the future.
I can put it here.
Okay, lemon yellow, cadmium yellow, signal red, cobalt blue, cerulean blue, C-E-R-U-L-E-A-N, Prussian blue, Hooker's green, emerald green, and back to lemon yellow. You get all that?
Cerulean blue, Persian blue, Hooker's green, emerald green.
Very good.
Okay.
Top of the class. Now, you're going to need some brushes. I have a whole range of brushes that I use because I paint quite a lot. Mostly you'll need one, let's say, medium-sized brush and maybe something slightly bigger, like that. These are well used, but I like them. They've served me well. Now I'm going to work on a panel. I brought a panel, and this is a panel from an art shop with this canvas stretched over it and glued down. I put some tape all the way around it so that when I take it off, it has a lovely white frame around the finished picture.
So that's why they need the masking tape.
That's why they need the masking tape. Now, before we do anything though, I want to go into a little bit of the science of landscape painting. What, John? The science of landscape painting. Right. Now, so Libra should move the camera a little bit closer so that we can see both. Now, hold on. Let's see the landscape as well. Let's see the photograph so that you can see what I'm talking about. Now, where do we see? Is that okay? I think that's probably it. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the sky and the science of the sky. Why is it the way it is? I'm going to talk about the clouds. Not as simple as they look. I'm going to talk about the reflections in the water. Why is it the way it is? And I'm going to talk about these bushes and trees here. Why do they grow the way they do? Now, I'm no science expert, but I have had reason to look into these things because I paint landscapes semi-professionally. So I've had reason to look into them. So I can give you my ideas as to why they are the way they are. You may disagree, you may not, but I think I have it right. So we're going to start by looking at the sky in this picture. And I'm going to paint something here. The reason I've tinted this is because any colors I put on this are either darker than this or lighter than this. You're not starting from a blank white surface. And I've done the same, as you can see, with the panel that I'm going to work on. So if you want to do that now, it's probably a good idea. If you're working on canvas or panel, give it a tint.
So what
Just a
color
red.
should they use? What color should they
Oh,
use?
just a bit of red or a bit of orange, just to take away the whiteness.
So
Take
and
away
a lot of water.
and a lot of water, and you can put it on and then rub it off, so that it just takes the whiteness
So
off.
rub it off with like a tissue or
A
something?
tissue or a cloth, a damp cloth is best. But the idea is to take the whiteness off the surface you're going to be working on.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's give them some time to do
Okay,
that.
if you want to do that, yeah, sure.
Yes.
All I did was I mixed a little bit of signal red, more signal red, and a touch of Hooker's green and a little bit of cerulean blue, mixed them all together and put them on with a great big brush that I have here somewhere. The biggest brush you have. And you're just putting it on like that. In the case of the panel, putting it on like that and rubbing it off again. But it is important to get rid of the white. The first thing they told us in art school donkeys years ago, if you're going to start a painting, get rid of the white. There are no
Interesting.
rules anymore, really, but those are way back in the days of academic painting.
See, I've never heard of this before.
Get rid of the white.
No.
Yes. Okay, can we maybe have a go at the sky? Now, if you can see here, look at the sky. It's a very deep tone of blue here. And as you come down to the horizon, it's the same sky, but it's just very much lighter. Why is that? Okay, well, I'll show you why. Here is the Earth. surface of the planet. Okay? And here's the Earth's atmosphere. I think it extends 14 kilometers above the planet. So this is the atmosphere of the Earth. If we're looking horizontally towards the horizon, and here's us, there's Libush standing there, she's looking this way. She's looking through the atmosphere, and the atmosphere is lighter in tone than the deep space sky. As she looks up this way, the sky gets deeper. The color gets deeper because you're looking out into empty space. And the further up you look, the deeper that blue gets. So the further up you look, the more pronounced and the deeper the blue. Is that clear? That's the science of what's happening. Also, there is reflected light from the surface coming back up again. So that's adding to the brightening of the sky at the bottom and the deepening of the sky at the top. And if you need proof of that, have a look out your window tomorrow morning and you'll find I'm right. Now that's one of the important things to know because it separates the professional from the amateur. And I'm going to demonstrate it now as follows. Some blue, some white, and a little touch.
John, can you put it up a little bit? Can you
Put it, oh yes.
Yes.
There's my blue. And it has a touch of white in it and a little touch of lemon yellow. Now watch. And as we move down, we add more white and we add more lemon. We blend it into our blue and down we go. We'll do this first and then watch. Blend it all in together like that. You see that? And there's our sky. And there's the point I'm trying to make. Mm-hmm. Deeper blue, lighter blue.
So this is just like you're explaining it. They don't have to really paint this yet.
No.
Yes.
No.
So
this is just a preparatory stuff for the work we're going to do. The further down you go, look at it. It's almost white. And there's the sky. And there it is explained.
Čiže John vám momentálne dáva čas na to, aby ste si namaľovali ten váš obraz tou zmesou červenej a bielej a mali čas to poutierať a medzi tým vám vysvetľuje, ako sa to robí a ako sa robí obloha. Toto ešte nemusíte kresliť, zatiaľ si robte len tú svoju červenú farbu. Toto je na vysvetlenie, aby ste vedeli.
Okay, now, any questions, put them in the little comment box and we'll go through them as we go. Now, let's move on. Clouds. Done the sky. Let's look at clouds. Do clouds have 3 dimensions? I'm asking.
Yes.
They do. They do. They do have 3 dimensions. It's a very insubstantial 3 dimensions, but nonetheless they do. Now, just let's draw a little cartoon type cloud here. You don't see a blank white cloud. You see a cloud that is modeled by light. Let's say the light is coming from over here, as it is in this picture here. So this side of the cloud is going to be brighter than this side of the cloud. The bottom of a cloud is always darker because it's in shadow. The cloud may not have much substance, it's just vapor, it's just water, but it has enough substance for it to give it its 3-dimensionality. So here we have a demonstration of it. The sun is shining on this cloud here, therefore this side of the cloud is in shadow, therefore it's darker. Okay?
Ak máte nejaké otázky, prosíme, pýtajte sa teraz, kým ešte John vysvetľuje, že ako všetko sa to bude maľovať a čo všetko budete dnes robiť. Lebo ešte stále nemaľujeme samostatný obraz.
Now, one more thing about clouds. Let's say you're in an airplane. and you're looking down at the landscape, what you see are clouds like this. Bigger clouds, smaller clouds, whatever. But you're looking straight down, clouds are like that. So which means that if you're looking at it, at those clouds from the ground and at an angle, they are layered back into the distance as far as the horizon. One big one here, smaller, 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 way off into the distance. They are layered. You understand layered? Okay, so that's clouds. Now, reflections. I won't spend too much longer on this. We'll get to painting now shortly. But an understanding of these things helps you when you're trying to paint. You have an understanding of the science of what's happening. Now, color has no water. Try that again, John. Water has no color. It hasn't. It is clear. And here we are. Water in its pure form is clear. Even the Danube in its pure form is clear. Now, you can put some paint into it. All of a sudden, it has a color. But the color is the paint, not the water. The water itself has no color. The only color it has is reflected color. The surface of this lake is a mirror. It's reflecting whatever is above it. For example, there's a mountain, there's another mountain, here's some trees, and here's the lake. The lake acts like a mirror. So directly underneath that, we have the trees, this mountain, and this mountain. See it? It's a direct mirror image of what's above it. See it? Mirror image of that mountain, mirror image of the trees here. You see the color and the mountain behind, and it's most pronounced in the boat. You see the boat? There's the boat, and there's a direct mirror image of the boat underneath. Something you need to know. The last thing I want to show you is, oh yes, one more thing. You can see the surface of the lake. If you look at the lake from the side, it has ripples in it. Water is not flat. Wind has an effect on water. If you're talking about the sea, then the tide has an effect on water. And that's what produces these ripples and produces this, what we call a hairy edge in our picture. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is trees. Just as a little explanation for these bushes and the shapes they are. There's a tree, there's another tree, there's another tree, there's another tree. If this one is chopped down, it makes a space for a smaller tree might be growing here. And that tree bends towards the new light, producing the bend in the tree itself. Trees compete for light. They compete for light, and that's what makes the shape of the tree. And that's similar for bushes, trees in the distance, or anything that grows. It's competing for light. Now, let's leave all that and get to work. So, I hope you've taken the time to tint your surface. Here it is. I've drawn in pencil here what we're going to do. But now, so that you can see it, I'm going to do it again with my brush. So you can follow along. Okay? Right?
What color are you using for painting?
I'm just going to, and since I'm drawing, I'm just going to use some brown, which is a mixture of red and green. Not very thick. All we're doing at the moment is drawing. So there's what I'm doing. A little bit of red, a little bit of green, and all we're doing is drawing at the moment. So, what are we drawing? Well, the clouds, we leave the clouds for the moment. I'm going to draw the line at the top of these mountains. See it? The furthest thing away. Let's start with that. And here it is. Start on that. Oh, best thing to do is to get your middle first. And our middle is there. And then judge what the flow of the line is to the right of that middle and to the left of that middle. Okay? So, here we go. Follow along best you can. This mountain comes down, you see it? And then there's a line of trees. Could you do that, Lewis?
Not as good as you,
Well,
but my way.
practice.
You know, I did it my way.
Well, look, you're making something for yourself.
Exactly.
You're the one that has to live with it, or not.
Oh,
You don't
yes.
have to, you're not in the business of keeping anyone else happy. You're in the business of just sitting down for a relaxed afternoon, take out your paintbrush and do what makes you happy. There's no such thing as perfection in art. If there was, there'd be no art. Believe me.
I do.
Now I'm going to exaggerate the heights of some of these mountains just a little bit for dramatic effect. So, here's the line. You see where I am now? I'm here, following this line up, and then it flattens out a little, and then it goes up again. Now I'll just exaggerate that a little, and then it comes down, over, and then it goes down like this. Now, in the distance, we can see this. And again, I'm exaggerating a little for dramatic effect. It's called artistic license.
So you get a license for this, right?
I get a
to
license
make
for
things
this,
more
yes.
dramatic. I like that.
Now, look at the trees. I hope you can see it either on your own laptop or in the photograph if you've reproduced the photograph and had it printed out. I had mine printed out professionally at Fax Copy. My good friend Dennis at Fax Copy will do anything for me. And he reproduced this on good photographic paper for me at A3 size. Now, so let's take a look at the tops of the trees here in the distance. You see that? That's the line I'm doing now. And underneath that, another line of trees. And across here, we'll worry about colour later. For the moment, we're just drawing as accurately as we can. Now, look at this line of trees coming down. Look at the golden colour in the autumn. It's so beautiful. The colour is just changing from green to gold, and it's all very dramatic, which is the reason I picked this picture in the first place. Now, that line of trees goes here. Any questions, Libur? Yes?
Áno, ešte, že bola tam otázka, že sme sľúbili aj preklad. Otázka je, že čo všetko by ste potrebovali prekladať. Ja sa budem snažiť možno trošku viacej rozprávať s tým, čo John hovorí.
What are they asking?
Because
Sorry?
they were asking for some translation as well.
Oh, right, yeah. Okay.
So
Yeah,
maybe-
look, I'm sorry. I lose the run of myself and I start using big words and I start using idioms. That's what we do in Ireland. I'm sorry. You've got to go there. Who's been in Ireland? Go. It's the most fun ever. And this, you see this big golden tree in the sunlight. Look at that.
Takže tam máme aj taký nádherný zlatý strom na tej strane.
And this hotel, I don't know if anybody knows the name of that hotel. Do you know that hotel? Yeah,
It's a very famous one.
I'm sure.
It's a Štrtské pleso.
Yeah, I saw lots of photographs of this. And to be honest, I was looking for one without it, but nonetheless, we pretend we don't see it. Now.
Čiže pani Evku chcem poprosiť, že čo všetko by chcela prekladať, že keď John kreslí, tak to je názorné a že možno, že čo by potrebovala prekladať, že či všetko doslova, alebo či by potrebovala len tu a tam pomôcť s niečím. Že nie som si istá, že či všetko úplne potrebujete.
Now, I hope you can see there's another line of trees there, just at the water's edge.
Čiže tam sú ďalšie stromy, tesne nad hladinou vody.
There. And then the edge of the lake goes right across in a blue line, right across here. So let's draw that in.
A teraz kreslíme koniec jazera, hladinu.
It's interrupted by these trees, this bush here, sorry.
Hladina je trošku prerušená tým
But it's a very straight line.
stromom vpredu,
Straight
ale je
across.
to úplne rovná línia.
Okay, now, remember I told you about the surface of the lake acting like a mirror? Let's do that. So this mountain is reflected here. You see this line is the reflection of that mountain. This gold in here is a reflection of these trees. This is a very pronounced reflection of that tree there, etc., etc. Look at the line of this and the boat, of course. So,
Čiže teraz sa ideme pozrieť na ten obraz, ktorý vytvára voda a John kreslí odraz hôr a takisto odraz stromov.
now you see the reflection of that here, very pronounced and very, very clear. Oh, the boat. We'll get back to the boat down a second. This mountain here needs to be reflected underneath.
Čiže loďku si necháme na neskôr, teraz ešte stále maľujeme
I've moved it a
odraz.
little, so I need to adjust again. There's that mountain,
Čiže to je tá hora.
and this goes right in here. And it goes behind this bush, you see?
OK, Elka, super, som rada. Na začiatku,
Is that better having the translation?
keďže ste neboli na začiatku, ja som tam iba hovorila, že najprv si nakreslite ten červený povrch, pretože to je základ každej maľby, ako John vysvetlil. Hovoril, že maliari nekreslia na biele plátna, ale kreslia vždy už na nejakou farbou predpripravené plátna. Čiže on si to predpripravil a dal tam takú kombináciu bielej a červenej farby, úplne že vodovo, a potom to celé poutieral, aby už jednoducho nemal bielú farbu. Takže vidím, že čo bude treba, povedzte, preložím, ale vidím, že teraz už to zvládate. Takže ďakujem. Okay, so she doesn't really need that. It's just that she didn't see things and didn't hear things at the beginning. She didn't understand those 4 pictures.
Okay,
So she's
all
fine.
right. Well, you'll be fine just following along. Now, let's start at the farthest part of this picture, which is the sky, and we'll paint forward this way. So, here we go. We need some white, we need some blue. Now, a trick we use as painters is you mix your color on your palette, hold it up to you pile it onto your brush like that, and then hold the brush up against where it should be. You see this, Libud? There's my color.
Čiže
And you
teraz
hold it up again. Now that needs a little touch of red. because it's-
trošičku si prirovnajte tie farby a napríklad John tam pridáva aj trošku červenej. Keď sa pozriete, ako vyzerá tá obloha, tak sa tam dajú skombinovať viaceré farby na začiatku. Čiže základ ideme tou ako kvázi najsvetlejšou, tou
very
tmavšou
close.
hore. Tou najtmavšou hore.
That's very close. See that? Let's go with it.
Asi priložte trošku ten štetec ku obrázku, aby ste vedeli, je to približne podobná farba, a namaľujete ten vrch.
Now, the wonder and the beauty of acrylics is you can always paint over them. With oils, it's a little bit more difficult, but acrylics dry very quickly. So you can paint over them, you can correct mistakes without too much trouble. Now, I put in this color here. I've spread it out a little bit, but you'll see why in a minute. Now we're going to move down. Do you remember I showed you earlier that the sky gets lighter as it goes down? So let's do that.
Čiže
And in order to
najtmavšia
do
bola
that,
hore,
we take in the color we already have on our brush,
to čo máme,
mixing a little bit of lemon yellow
trošku lemon yellow, čiže
and a
žltej
little bit of
farby.
blue.
Pozrieme
bringing
sa.
it down
Čiže
here.
John na začiatku hovoril, pre tých, čo ste tu neboli, že obloha sa maľuje tak, že zhora je najtmavšia a čím ideme nižšie ku horizontu, v tomto prípade ku tým našim horám, tak je svetlejšia. To boli tie 4 obrázky na začiatku, ktorými vysvetľoval v zásade, zabrdol do hodiny geografie, že ako to funguje trošku, ale snaží sa to urobiť tak, aby ste videli, že hore je tmavšia a dole je vždy svetlejšia.
So, do you see the way I'm going over? I'm not putting in the clouds just yet. I'm painting the sky first, and we put in the clouds later.
Čiže zatiaľ
This is a matter of blending. There's a lot of blending involved in
len
this.
obloha.
From the bottom part of the picture
A
to the top.
snaží sa, aby to pekne spolu splynulo. Lebo základ je obloha a potom dokreslí aj tie oblaky.
Always clean your brushes, John.
No, yeah.
So how many people have we got, Libers? Can you...
At the moment there are 15 people
15?
watching, but there
Okay.
were more, there were 22.
Okay, there were more.
Maybe they, I don't know, they vanished.
They vanished into thin air.
Yeah.
Maybe they were arrested.
Anyway, they can see it also afterwards.
Indeed. Now, so I'm moving across here. You see behind this mountain a very light blue.
Čiže posúvame sa trošku
At the moment
doľava.
it's just a matter of blending.
Keď sa pozriete na tú fotku, tak tam je to také dosť svetlé, úplne najsvetlejšie, také až do biela.
And there's a little bit of blue over here. Now a lot depends on the quality of the photograph that you've managed to get. A bad photograph won't show you all the stuff you need. So luckily I got a good photograph. Now, so that's the sky, and now we need to change my brush and have a go at these clouds. Now I'm a very, very strange
Takže
artist.
oblaky. John, can you put it up a little bit,
Sure.
the palette, so that they see?
I'm a very strange individual. Everybody has their own techniques that they develop themselves. One of my techniques is actually to mix colors on the picture.
Takže John je veľmi zvláštny v tom,
But like I said,
má
I'm
viaceré
very strange.
techniky.
I wouldn't recommend it for somebody starting out. You need to be have been doing this for a while before you.
On si
you
priamo
get the idea.
mieša tieto farby na obraze, čiže nerobia to väčšinou začiatočníci, ale on teda ako skúsený maliar s neviem koľkými
So,
výstavami.
See what I'm doing here? It's almost a pink, but not quite. See it? So I'm just working these clouds, and clouds, of course, are all fluffy and dewy and all. So the gestures that you use are important with clouds. They're not. There's no straight lines in them. They're all fluffy and
Čiže
you
je
know.
tam aj trošičku červenej, je tam trošičku žltej, pretože obloha nie je len bielomodrá samozrejme.
There's even some yellow in them. Have a close look at that. Well, I mean, have a close look at anything, and you'll see there's an infinitely more variety of color than you see at first glance. Look at clouds, and you start to see all sorts of colors.
A výhoda akrylových farieb ešte hovorí je tá, oproti olejovým, že sa vždy dajú premaľovať. Čokoľvek namaľujete, viete to úplne v pohode premaľovať relatívne rýchlo, pretože rýchlo schnú.
Clouds in particular, though, the fascinating things if you take the time to look. Now, using a bigger brush again,
Takže teraz si zoberieme väčší štetec.
and you see what I was mentioning earlier, the shadow on one side of the cloud, here, and underneath this one.
Teraz ideme trošku tie oblaky tieňovať.
And in order to do that, well, look at what color it is. It's a purple.
A je to až do fialovatá farba.
So let's put it in darker than it is, and then we can tone it down.
Čiže môže to byť na začiatku tmavšie a potom to
That's the beauty
zosvetlíme.
of acrylics, is that you can
Áno, jednoducho bielou farbou.
you can make mistakes and then correct it. See it here? A lot of it has to do with getting a feeling for your subject. You know, even if this isn't perfectly accurate as regards what I see here, that's not the point. The point is to have a feeling for clouds, to have a feeling for mountains, and to have a feeling for water. Then you can produce a convincing painting with those subjects in it.
Ešte sa
And
spýtam, John, just a second, ešte sa spýtam Denisky, pomalšie teraz v čom? V maľovaní oblakov alebo v rozprávaní? Nie som si istá.
What's the
Somebody
problem?
was like, please slower, but I'm not sure if slower in like that you're painting fast or you're speaking fast. Not sure
Probably
now.
well, there you are.
Both of it.
I'm losing the run of myself.
That's good actually. Because then there is also another comment.
Yeah.
that they like it very much, and then it's also interesting because also the content is interesting, wonderful. And also there was one more. And yeah, that is interesting. And
Okay, so can you see
Interesting
what I mean when I say you get a feeling for it?
Dobre, Deniska, ďakujeme. So in painting, if you could be a little bit slower in painting, John.
Well, yes. You see, this is what I'm trying to say to you. I'm using a bigger brush here,
Yes.
and I'm using sort of cloud-like gestures. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be a perfect reproduction of these clouds. You have to. All I'm trying to communicate
the feeling,
is the idea of the feeling of clouds. You see that?
Yes.
That's the feeling.
Okay. Takže Deniska, nemusíte
that's
sa
what we're
báť,
at.
že ak všetko nestíhate úplne presne ako John, lebo on už aj hovoril, že keď je maliar už teda vymaľovaný, tak ako on, tak už to tam len, ja by som povedala, že nejak dá a vyzerá to parádne. A možno, že pre nás úplných laikov a začiatočníkov je to náročnejšie. Takže tam skôr by som povedala, že ako vám to vyjde, tak vám to vyjde, lebo John už tam pridáva toľko vrstiev, že ktoré možno, že my ani nevieme pridať, ale na druhej strane vy si to môžete dokončiť aj neskôr, lebo teraz v zásade, keď vidíte, tak tá obloha je ako keby samostatná časť. My pôjdeme ďalej. Na toto budete mať čas, dokončiť si to kľudne aj neskôr, aj po tejto hodine.
Okay,
I just wanted to say that, they can also finish a little bit later,
Yes.
like,
Well, this
that's
is
more the how to do it.
Yeah. Well, it's
as
God. I can do what I'm doing here because I've spent 40 years looking at landscapes. So I have muscle memory, what's known as muscle memory, in my arm, which allows me to do these things, they're almost second nature. I'm not expecting new students to be able to do that, but I do want to plant the idea in your head of the feeling of things rather than the actual physicality, the actual sort of slavish adherence to the subject. Let it dictate. Let the brush sometimes dictate where it wants to go and what it wants to do. Just a general faithfulness to the subject, but mostly the feeling. Very hard to know what I mean when I say that, but if you come back for more lessons, the penny will drop, we say in English. Now, how do you say the penny will drop?
The penny will drop.
The idea will
Všetko
suddenly...
pochopíte, lebo toto je workshop, ktorý my sa teraz snažíme možno za nejakú hodinku stihnúť. Väčšinou tie hodiny pre dospelých sú 2 hodiny. To vlastne tam sú, aby ste si mali čas vyhrať s tým, možno trošku chvíľu pokecať na 5 minút, dať si čajík. A vlastne tie hodiny sú buď online, offline, ale je to dlhšie, takže to už je taká iná verzia.
Okay, now, the next farthest thing away, how do you say that in Slovak? I don't know. The next farthest thing away is this section of mountain here and this one here, and there's a little touch of it way behind. So we're going to get that color in. See how much different that is from that, and that's because it's so much farther away. So we're going to paint in this area of the mountain range in the distance and this here. And in order to do it, we have to mix up some blue, some white, a little touch of green, and a touch of red.
Čiže teraz sme zmiešali celkom dosť farieb.
Now you see it? And here we go. And it hardly looks much different from the sky, so we need to add just a touch more blue.
Áno, našťastie celé toto video bude potom, ako my dokončíme, postnuté na Facebook, takisto ako aj to prvé zo včera bolo, takže budete to tam všetko vidieť.
And there it is. Now let's put a little bit of that in here.
Čiže začal tými horami, ktoré sú úplne vzadu.
We're covering over this brown paint that we used to draw.
A
Draw my
snažíme
subject.
sa úplne
Here as well.
dať preč a vlastne zakryť tú hnedú farbu.
And on this side of this mountain, you see this side of the mountain here? It's in sunlight, so let's use the same color for that and just add a touch of lemon yellow to it. You see it? Doesn't go all the way to the top. And there we are. So we've done this here, we've done this side of this mountain and this, and a little touch here in the distance. Now we need to get darker as we get closer. So take the same color, add a little Prussian blue here, a touch, a red, and a touch of lemon yellow.
Čiže stále v
And-
zásade miešame tie isté farby. A do tejto sme
That
pridali
side of that mountain.
takú tmavšiu časť, lebo táto nie je na slnku. Je v tieni.
And here,
Aj tá časť. Čiže čím viac ideme dopredu, tým sú tie hory tmavšie, right John? So the more we go forward, then it's darker.
yeah, well, not so much darker, but the contrast between light and dark becomes more pronounced. In the distance, it all fades into one,
Yeah.
but as you come closer, the contrast between dark and light widens. That's the lesson. That's the
right
important
thing.
thing. Now, I'm going to take another bit of artistic license soon and put a bit of snow on these mountains, just to add a little drama.
So you
Is that
can,
okay?
yes, because
Can I do that?
you have the license for that, right?
I have the license. I got my license. I'm a made man.
Takže John trošku bude meniť ten obrázok a tak, že tam dá aj nejaký sniežik. Tak je jeseň v zásade na obrázku, je to dosť možné.
Now this this photograph is a little bit exaggerated, so I'm compensating for that by taking the very dark, very pronounced bluishness out of that, which it really isn't accurate. Now, here, look at your photograph. Look at your photograph as closely as you can. That's the trick. And paint what you see, not what you guess or what you know to be there. Paint what you see is the golden rule. Now, I'll do this mountain first and we'll put in some snow later. But first, we'll block it in its darkest tone. Now, okay, let's leave that now for the moment. That mountain there also has some contrast in it. Now, you see this mountain as it comes down, it fades into a lighter, very much lighter tone. So let's do that. So I'm mixing a lighter tone of that blue. That's not light enough.
Takže tu je to hranie sa s modrou
Have we-
farbou. So you're basically playing with different shades of blue.
Well, yes, and you know, as you see me doing here, I'm almost mixing it on the surface. I'm not mixing beforehand. I'm getting close enough, but I'm mixing it on the surface of the picture, which is unusual, I suppose. But you know, you
But
can
that's
make
interesting.
you can make things work if you can make any technique work if you persist with it and make it your own. That's my point. You know, it's your picture. Okay, let's leave that now for the moment. And we'll come back and we'll put some snow on those mountains later. Now, cleaning my brush again. Now we're moving forward again. We're going to tackle these trees here. How long have we got? Oh God, we haven't got much time. Okay, we need to movie. We need to motor a little bit. So we're going into an orange. So I'm mixing red, cadmium yellow, and some green. Now, so cadmium yellow, signal red, hooker's green, and a touch of blue, and this is the color I'm getting. You see it? So this is the darkest tone of these trees, and then we'll brighten it as we come forward. So here we go. Let's put it in. You see that? Now, if we don't get a chance to finish this today, you can always do 10 minutes at the start of the next class to finish it.
Well,
before we try something else.
We can have it till 6:10.
Yeah, okay,
No,
good.
probably. Yes.
Good.
Hádam, ešte nie ste hladní a zvládnite to s nami aj trošku dlhšie ako hodinku.
And the darkest tone of that, I've added some green to it, down at the bottom here. I'm not going to give you definitive instructions as to how to do things. I'll give you an idea, but I'm not going to say this is the only way to do it and no other way works. It's your painting. You can make it work. It's just a matter of enthusiasm. So, you see this, so I've added quite a lot of green to this.
Čiže toto už je také viacej zelenšie.
Just to block it in. So I'm blocking it in green, and you can see actually there's a little touch of blue in there, just there, behind this bunch of trees. I'll make that more pronounced now shortly. I'm just working around this bush here in the foreground.
Čiže môžete si tam dať viacej zelenej teraz do toho.
Now, look at this. Look at the color of this in the distance. It's just extraordinary. So let's put it in.
Už teraz trošku viacej do oranžová.
So you work from dark, with acrylics you work from dark to light. You put on your darkest tone and then put the lighter tones on top of that. Look at this beautiful splash of color here. Look at this.
Čiže základ, ako sa funguje s akrylovými farbami, ako to už spomínal predtým, že najprv na tmavšie a potom sa to zosvetľovať dá už či cez nejakú žltú, bielu, ale základ je ísť z tmavších do svetlých farb.
And the reflection of this is almost perfect, directly underneath. See that?
Reflexia, odraz vo vode. Ako ste na tom zatiaľ?
It's kind of magical, isn't it?
Stíhate s nami? Napíšete nám, či zatiaľ s nami stíhate?
Have we any questions?
Počkáme si.
Now, so here's the darkest area of trees here, and here's the reflection of that darkest area of trees directly underneath it. So, let's do it.
Čiže najtmavšia časť je práve pod hotovom,
So
najtmavšia stromov, red.
Cadmium yellow and green, and it's, watch this now. So here's the direct reflection of that dark area directly underneath it. Watch. We do that much first, and then watch. Do you see the blue line of the water's edge? Goes right through the middle.
OK, tak teraz tam dáme ešte aj tú blue líniu. Blue línia.
See that? Now, and this area up here reflected underneath. So let's put it in. Not enough red. ahead.
Dobre, ja sa teda ešte raz opýtam. Ste OK s tým, že aby sme dokončili celú tú maľbu, že budeme potrebovať viac času ako hodinu? Že či ste teda OK s tým, nám môžete napísať, aby sme teda aj vedeli, že John sa tým pádom nebude musieť asi toľko ponáhľať. Aby ste s nami stíhali. Napíšte nám prosím vás do komentárov.
Am I going too quickly for people?
I guess a little bit, so maybe we can slow down.
Okay.
So what you've done so far is basically the trees area, right?
Mountains,
Mountain.
trees.
Now this last part, yeah? So like first was the sky, then the mountain.
Yes,
And
coming
now-
from the farthest
So
away.
that's how you
coming
work on a
closer
painting.
and
That
closer
you start
and
from
closer.
the distance and then you're
Yeah.
bringing it closer.
It's one way of working. It's
Uh-huh.
one way of working. That's the way a lot of
Okay.
landscape painters will work.
We need some manual, which is, one way of
Yes,
showing it.
yes.
That's
This is
great.
as good a way as any. But the things to bear in mind are that colours in the distance will have more blue in them. You can see from the colour wheel.
Mhm.
Colours in the distance will have more blue in them. And as you come closer, you move into, first of all, a wider range of contrast,
Mhm.
and secondly, brighter colours.
Mhm.
Okay? You wouldn't be able to see that in the distance.
Mhm. That's true.
Okay? Because you're looking through a thick layer of atmosphere.
Mhm.
So, we're not doing too badly so far.
No, well,
still have
and they have time,
20 minutes.
so we can make it longer.
Okay, let's do that. We stay till tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay, now, look underneath here. There's a lovely yellow line. It's not quite clear what it is, but let's put it in. You see it?
Mhm.
And that tree is on its light side, where the sun hits it,
Mhm.
very much brighter. See that?
Yes, it is. Mhm.
So let's make it brighter.
Mhm. Čiže z tej strany, ako prichádza slnko, tak tam John dáva veľa, veľa žltej.
And look at that. So what is up there, like I said, is directly reflected in the mirror
A
that
to
is the
isté
water.
aj na spodnú stranu.
Now I'm giving it a very clean edge here, but that is not in fact reality because the water isn't flat. The water has ripples on it. We'll get to that in a moment. Now look at this. Here's a clear example of the water acting like a mirror. Look at that color. It's almost direct copy of what it's reflecting. So let's do that. First of all, this green area of trees here, let's put it in underneath.
Takže teraz ideme pracovať na odraze. Čiže vrch máme a teraz ideme na odraze pracovať.
And here it is. We'll try and reflect the exact shape of what's above it.
Čiže snažíme sa o ten istý tvar, ale tá farba nezodpovedá v zásade tomu, tá farba je svetlejšia.
That needs a little red and it needs a little blue as well. It's a bit.
So you're putting it basically a little bit lighter and blend it?
Well, ish. It's just not so distinct. And also reflections tend to be perpendicular like that, rather than. I'll show you it later now as we get into these reflections. So, see what we've done? The reflection of that area of trees and the reflection of that area of trees. Now let's just put in something for this hotel, just to take the bareness off it. I don't want it too prominent, so I'm just putting it in a mixture of white and
Alebo
red
patria.
and a little bit of green.
Číslo
Just to,
alebo patria.
I can add some more highlights to that later. Now, this area of trees behind is also very bright. So let's do it. Very similar to this tree over here. So, almost red. Let's put it in red first, and then we can adjust it. This is the golden autumn colors. You see it going down behind this bush here,
Patria.
and
So it's called the Hotel Patria, John. It's
The
not
hotel-
It's Patria.
Tatria. Okay?
Patria.
Patria.
Yeah, because
Alright.
the mountain behind it is Patria as well. And
I
I wasn't
see.
sure because there is Fis and Patria.
Got it.
I haven't seen these hotels forever.
Now look, it's not a very satisfactory way to be painting. I can do this from a photograph because I know how to compensate for what the photograph doesn't give me. I've looked at places like this all my life, so I know how to get an approximation of reality.
So what do you need to compensate you?
Well, a camera will only record one frequency of light. You know what I mean? You take a
Yes.
photograph, you have to set your camera
Exactly
to
that.
a particular, I don't know what the word is. This is the camera doing its work. It's not your eyes
Yes,
doing the work.
that's very
Your
different.
eyes doing the work is an entirely different process. Your eye is choosing, your brain is choosing constantly what to do. You haven't got a moment frozen in time. A photograph is a moment frozen in time, and that's all we're reproducing here. A millisecond in time.
So if you were sitting there
You're
for
sitting
5
there-
days, then it would
Well,
have completely...
everything would be different. Everything. Much more dramatic, much more alive, much more real, and much more satisfying, it has to be said. But for the moment, we're just talking about some of the basics.
I mean, it's great. We need to start somewhere, right?
You've got to start somewhere, that's the thing. Now, while we're on the subject, let's just put in a colour for that boat. Just to do it, okay? Just to place it in space. So, I'm just going to give it,
Že si teraz umiestníme
just going to
loďku.
give it a colour like this. Nothing too dramatic, we can always adjust it.
So what are you mixing? Yellow?
It's a mixture of lemon and cadmium, both.
Lemon
And I'm
and
just using
both
one brush
yellows.
stroke to do it. And remember, direct reflection underneath of exactly the same thing.
Uh-huh.
So the same gesture, see the same gesture?
Mm-hmm.
See that?
Mm-hmm.
And it fades into red at the
Red.
back,
Mm-hmm.
and here it is. There's the back of the boat, reflection, back of the boat, and underneath. And there's our boat, done and dusted. Now it's not, the shape is not exactly right, but you get the idea.
Takže trošku teraz si dáme loďku. Na konci červenú trošku.
Eh?
Mhm.
And inside the boat is just a white with a touch of blue.
Červená, oranžová. A teraz biela a modrá.
Very simple. We won't do too much more with that. Now, let's block in this lake. Blocking in means to... means
Big
to-
brush.
Yeah, big brush, and just get some paint onto
Put
the
up the
subject.
palette a little bit higher. Palette a little bit
Okay,
higher.
fine. Now it's getting a bit of a mess now, but that's a good sign. Now, so mixing blue. Remember, the water is a mirror, so it's reflecting whatever is above it. Okay? So, did somebody just come in? So, color that mountain underneath with a tint of green in it because there's some suspended mud and gunk in the lake. Suspended mud, which is giving it its color. Not the water itself, remember?
Mhm.
And here's this mountain over here. I'm just blocking it in. I'm not being particularly careful or subtle with this. Just blocking it in, and then we can adjust it as we go.
Takže teraz v zásade sa snažíme len urobiť to, aby sme približne tam dali tie hory, nejak to tam proste, a už doslova musím povedať, že namažeme.
There's somebody there.
Nie, namaľujeme, tu už je namažeme.
Right?
It's like not really painting, it's just like painting in an apartment.
Yeah, I know.
No, it's nice, I
know,
like it.
I know. But if it has the effect of getting people outdoors to work from reality, then that's what it's all about as far as I'm concerned.
Mhm.
Okay, now, so I'm just blocking it. See the color behind the bush here and the water. And again, look at that color. It's precisely a mirror image of the sky. Here, precisely a mirror image of the sky. So you could literally turn your painting upside down and reproduce it. Now, here, I'm hurrying up a little bit.
Don't worry. Take your
No,
time.
take your time.
Yes, we have time. Take your time.
So just blocking in. There's an awful lot of common sense involved in painting. Just use your common sense. It's not the great big mystery that the art world would have you believe it is. It can be very simple. And remember, it's your picture, nobody else's. See here? Not a nice color. Again, here. Now the gestures I'm using here are kind of mirroring the ripple effect on the water. Yeah?
Takto ten online má výhodu v tom, že môže vám to všetkým ukázať. Ako vždy, lepšie je úplne ten individuálny prístup, keď viete prísť k nám na ten workshop priamo sem do klasu, kde ten John sa môže pozrieť, pomôcť vám v tých ťahoch možno. Takže ľahko sa na to pozerá, ale asi ťažšie je to zreprodukovať. I'm just saying that how easy it looks, and then if I had to paint it, I don't know. John,
Well,
like, it would take me hours.
Yeah, I know, but you don't do it because you have to. You do it
No,
because
but
you want
I
to,
would
is the
want
point,
to
you
do
know?
that. I think I'll just play it at home later on, and I will do my own.
Well, there you are. As long as you do it, it's in the
Yeah.
doing. You know, the doing is the therapy. As they
That's
say.
it.
You
You know,
know what I
like
mean?
it looks so relaxing.
Yes. Well, I don't know about relaxing. The more
I mean, like
serious-
you're full of energy, of
Yeah,
course,
yeah,
but
that's
it's more
the
the type
That's
of
the
energy you have is completely different. So like it's not
Indeed,
this
you're engaged
frantic
with
energy.
the idea. Now look, this line of trees here is brighter because the sun is hitting it at various places. So let's
A teraz sa s tým ideme pohrať.
do that.
Čiže stromy sú trošku svetlejšie.
Also here,
Tam svieti trochu slnka, tam svieti tiež.
and there's some purple in the distance. Try and see it just in terms of areas of color. Just areas of color, nothing else. Forget about it being trees, forget about it being mountains, forget about it being anything
That's
in
an
particular.
interesting
And just
approach.
see it as areas of color alone. And that will simplify the task for you.
That's true. Like you
You know
don't
what I mean?
have to. Like I was always looking like, how do I do those
Yes.
trees?
Yes, but
And that's
forget
actually
about
not
them
so
being trees.
important.
Forget about them being trees. Forget about it
Okay.
being, just think of it as a shape or
Uh-huh.
an area or
So
color.
you can splash a little bit there.
Exactly.
Splash a little bit there.
Exactly.
Here, there.
It's
and
your
that's it.
painting. I keep saying this. They say the same thing to chefs. It's your dish. You're the one that has to eat it. Put what you like into it. You know what I mean? I agree with that, I have to say.
Oh,
The
then
whole
actually,
business of cooking and
I
the
can
business of
ask
painting
about
is very
it.
similar.
Yeah,
Very
that's true.
similar. We may have cooking lessons on here sometime. Shh, don't tell anyone. How would you all like to make bacon and cabbage with Irish whiskey, parsley and cream sauce? I'll teach you how to do it.
No, čo poviete? Mali by
Am I
ste
giving away
záujem o
secrets?
nejaké... a budete priamo s nami variť? Bol by o takéto niečo záujem? Napíšte nám do komentárov.
I need some more white. So are there people actually painting?
Yes, I think they are.
There are, okay.
Napíšete nám, kto maľuje? Napíšte nám, prosím vás, že kto s nami maľuje, že koľko
Need some
vás
more
je.
white here. Can you
A že či to s nami stíhate, ale keď ako John hovorí, že zabudnite na to, že sú tam nejaké stromy, hory, proste len oblasti, kde treba dať takú alebo takú farbu. Takže napíšte nám prosím vás, že kto všetko s nami maľuje. Som veľmi zvedavá a teda John určite viac ako ja.
Now, I'm putting on some white here, but the logic of why I'm doing it is because it's there. You see? That's the logic of it. The reason I'm doing it is because it's a direct reflection of that. It's just a mirror. The mirror, the shape is opposite because it's... Okay, see it? Same here. So, just see it as areas of color, and it'll help to clarify the problem that is painting. Now, this needs, to make this, to be honest now, to make this acceptable to my own standards would take a week. But, for the purposes of this exercise, we can get something somewhat acceptable finished, or close enough to finish today. Now, let's get some of this blazing color in here and some of this up here, and you'll start to see some drama. Okay, so we start with the darkest tone of this, which is, we're mixing red and cerulean blue and a little green to get the darkest tone. And here it is.
John, this is hilarious. I asked so, are you actually painting with us? And then there was, yes, I do, but I don't even know what. That's great. Euka, super, ďakujeme, toto sa mi strašne páči. Ja teraz nemalujem, ale sledujem a variť super, len nemám Irish whiskey. John, then we need to provide them with some good tips where to get Irish whiskey.
Well, you'll find it online.
Okay, so we'll send them a link beforehand.
Bushmills, Bushmills. So, Bushmills is available. You find it online easily enough.
Okay, so next...
Bushmills or Paddy Irish whiskey.
But wait,
Powers.
But wait, can you buy, what, should I have it delivered from Ireland?
Oh, God.
No.
Well, there's an Irish bar here in Bratislava. Go down. And, what's his name? Dennis? I can't remember. The guy in Ishkabaha. Ishkabaha is Irish for whiskey.
So then of course.
Yes.
Oh, I know which one, okay? Give me a sec. Hneď vám to tu napíšem, že kde to zoženiete.
What is this turning into?
Urobíme jeho kamošovi Denisovi malú reklamu. Hneď vám to tu napíšem, že kde zoženiete dobré whisky. A ešte tu máme varenie, by bolo zaujímavé. So cooking would be interesting.
Yes, let's do it.
Maľujem, maľujem a stíham. Yes. Super.
Bacon and cabbage with whiskey, cream and parsley sauce is to die for.
Oh wow, John, don't even go there. Super. No, tak napíšem Irish whiskey.
Okay, Powers, Powers, or Bushmills, they're two of the best.
Oh, that one I will do later.
Okay.
You know what? Once we have a cooking lesson,
I'm going to do that.
a cooking event,
yes,
then they can cook with us, and
Absolutely.
then we will send them what they need beforehand. It will be
Indeed.
another live event.
Let's do it. Now, wouldn't that be something?
Okay, takže normálne sme sa rozhodli, že urobíme cooking event a budete ale variť s nami, dobre? To sa dohodníme, že my vám pošleme vopred v tom evente zoznam vecí, ktoré budete potrebovať. A tam, keďže sa to našťastie varí v rovnakom čase, aj vaše, aj naše, tak tam budete za Johnom stíhať, lebo maľovanie to je zase niečo iné, ale pri varení to by šlo. Čo poviete?
What have I talked myself into now, I wonder? Now, just to stick to the point here, what I'm doing here now is the foreground. You see this blue here? It's a very deep, luscious looking blue. And here it is going on. And here. Now, we haven't an awful lot of time, so I'm blocking in here rather quickly.
No píšem aj Euke, že pošlite nám potom vaše výtvory, pošlite nám fotky, prosím vás. My sa strašne budeme na to tešiť, pretože vidím, že máme tu Euku, že smejem sa nad sebou, ďakujeme za zábavu. She's saying like, I'm just painting something and I'm just laughing at myself. So thank you for the fun that you are now organizing. And then she would even have some whiskey at home. Good, good.
Good. Whiskey, cabbage, bacon, cream, parsley, and you'll find a recipe actually online easily enough.
And then we will do that later on. That would be next to then John now.
Okay.
So we are doing this.
Anyway, we planted the idea. Tell all your friends, and we'll see if we can organize
Áno, a
that.
potom ale musíte všetkých rýchlo pozvať, aby varili s nami, ale môžete ich pozvať aj do svojho domu, aby ste potom to mali s kým zjesť.
So, I'm working on this bush here. You see this? So I'm just dabbing with yellow, cadmium yellow, lemon yellow. See what I'm doing? Just trying to match the gesture to the subject, which is leaves.
Čiže ani tie listy nemusia byť listami, ale opäť sú to v zásade nejaké machule farieb. A toto sa mi na tom maľovaní asi začína páčiť, že vôbec tie listy nemusia vyzerať ako listy.
And in times like this, you can just dab it like that.
Dab, dab, dab.
Dab.
I like that, John. You know, like you don't really have to paint. You can just put colors somewhere.
Well, again, you know, you have to see the whole thing. It's like a chessboard in a way. You have to see the whole thing. So what you're doing here affects this up here, and this affects this down here. So there's some balance in the whole thing. Now, my water is not as effective as it could be, so I need to adjust that. And it's a matter of adjustment. The picture itself makes up its own rules, and you have to obey those rules. Because it's this picture, not another picture. Now you see how we're getting the reflections and how effective it all becomes. So here's the ripples in the water. See that?
And I want to tell them one thing that you've mentioned before. Neviem, možno ste zachytili, John povedal, že aby to bolo podľa jeho štandardov, tak na tej maľbe, na tom obraze by asi pracoval tak možno týždeň. Takže keď vravíte niektorí, že nemaľujete, že to je možno náročné, komplikované, sa vám to zdá, aspoň teda ja, keď sa na to pozerám už teraz ako výsledne, že to vyzerá úplne, že komplikovane, ale zoberte si naspäť, prehrajte si to video od začiatku, že kde sme začali a že postupne si tam viete pridávať vaše veci a môžete sa s tým vyhrať. A keď John vraví, že na tom by pracoval možno tak týždeň, aby to bolo že perfektné, tak si viem predstaviť. My teraz, ako to vidíte, ja to odfotím teraz po tomto workshope a on to dokončí a ja to odfotím znova a postnem to na Facebook. Takže potom pozerajte, že kde sa to dopracovalo. A John mal ešte taký nápad na začiatku, keďže je teda maliar, no teda jeho maľby sú úplne v inej cenovej hladine, ako asi my by sme si to dovolili možno kúpiť, ale povedal, že pokiaľ by sme urobili možno takú aukciu už toho dokončeného tohto obrazu, ktorá by začínala možno asi niekde na 100 eurách, čo teda veľmi nízka cena, ale dobre, skúsime, tak že by sme možno urobili aukciu a že výťažok by išiel na taký charitatívny rodinný trh, ktorý zase organizujem ja, tak možno, že niečo takéto by bolo celkom zaujímavé vidieť, že ako by sa to dopracovalo do úspešného konca. Ale to uvidíme neskôr. No, John, you know what I was saying?
Yes.
That you, if you wanted to make it into perfection, that you would work for it for a week maybe. But then, so I would take a picture now, after this workshop, and then, again, once you are happy with it, and you say like, oh, this is what I would like to present to the public, and then we would try to auction it.
We'll try and auction it. How about that? Wouldn't that be fun? For a particular charity? Do you happen to know of one?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, exactly.
I do.
The Poverty-Stricken Artists Restoration Fund. How about that? Now, I want to show you something before we go, and it's this. It's something kind of magical. I put some tape around this. Now, this is not a finished painting, but let's just see what happens when we take off the tape. Here we see. Get rid of that for a moment. We've gone a quarter of an hour over time.
No, that's okay.
But it's awesome. And I just want to show people
Not
this.
bad at all.
Now, I'm going to go over here for a second, and while I'm gone, take a look at that. And there's an example
Back.
of...
Okay, so maybe we need to put it up a little bit, or I need to put this down. Takže John vám chce ukázať, toto je jedna z jeho dokončených malieb. Ja to posuniem bližšie. On to vlastne zobral, že aby nám ukázal odraz vo vode. Čiže ako tu vidíte, tu vôbec nie je ten vrch až tak veľmi, tu je len odraz vo vode. A kým on dá dole, ja vám tu aj dám link, kde môžete nájsť viacej informácií o Johnovi a dokonca tam má aj niekoľko malieb. Namaľoval nádhernú maľbu Bratislavského hradu napríklad, lebo tým, že teraz tu tak motká už asi 3. rok po Slovensku a hlavne okolo Bratislavy, tak maľuje aj lúžne lesy, maľuje okolie Bratislavy, ale teda on hlavne aj krajinky. Na budúci týždeň, viete, že v sobotu a v nedeľu, na budúci týždeň budeme mať workshopy opäť, tak budem maľovať abstraktné maľby aj s deťmi. Deti budú tentokrát v tomto čase o 5:00 večer a pre dospelákov to bude o 10:00 v sobotu do poludnia. Čiže teraz vymeníme garde tých detských a dospeláckých workshopov a vy nám môžete takisto aj do komentárov napísať, že ak by ste chceli potom možno, mať nejaké ďalšie workshopy, že v akom čase by vám to vyhovovalo. Teda kým máme situáciu, akú máme, tak by to bolo online, ale lebo keď teda možno, že sme sa bavili o tom varení, alebo o nejakých ďalších, tak napíšte, že kedy je vhodný čas.
Okay, now, I've just taken off the tape. Cleans it all up. Now, that is not a finished picture.
A teraz sa pozrieme na toto. Keby ste to videli len tak úplne prvýkrát, tak si poviete, že wow, to koľko hodín maľoval. Ale vidíte, stihol to za 1 hodinu a 15 minút. Takže toto je niečo, na čom ešte on bude pracovať ďalej. Keď dal dole teraz tú maskovaciu pásku, tak vidíte, že je to úplne iný pocit z toho obrázka. A vidíte, že takéto niečo, keď si na to zoberie čas, tak to aj dokončí. Dobre, ja sa teraz trošku ešte možno na chvíľku vrátim do obrazu. Ešte takto.
Okay, it's the start of something. No more than that.
No more than that.
No more than the start.
OK, takže ja sa musím vrátiť asi takto trošku do toho obrazu, že v tomto prípade by sme vám asi poďakovali za dnešnú vašu účasť. Samozrejme, budete si to môcť pozrieť opäť a zastaviť si to kedykoľvek chcete, môžete, tam, kde potrebujete. A zároveň John bude pracovať na tomto obraze ďalej a neviem, ako dlho mu to bude trvať, ale minimálne my sa znova vidíme na budúci týždeň v sobotu o 10:00 s dospelákmi a v nedeľu o 5:00 s deťmi. Takže ďakujeme pekne a budeme veľmi radi, ak nám pošlete svoje výtvory v správe a potom my sa na ne veľmi radi pozrieme. OK? Ďakujeme pekne.
Okay,
Come and say
goodbye. Well, listen, goodbye, guys. That was it. Well, I have to come down. That was a pleasure, and I hope I see you all again. We're going to do something totally different next week, so bring your adventurous heads and follow me along, and you'll find this very rewarding. We're going to work on something abstract. We're just going to make it up as we go along. We're going to push it and push it and push it until we're happy with what we end up with. We're just going to talk about the rules of abstraction insofar as there are any. It's going to be fun.
Takže
Okay?
prosím
Turn
vás
it in. And I'll have worked on this in the meantime. We'll have something maybe we can auction, whatever. But tell your friends. Okay? Tell your friends.
Áno, na
Who-
budúci
do we have any
týždeň,
names for who I'm talking to?
Máme. Euka je tam napríklad Deniska a tak ďalej.
Deniska. Hello, Deniska. Who else do we have?
Euka, Eva.
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 Hello, Eva.
Takže napíšte nám prosím vás do komentov aj to, ako sa vám páčil tento workshop, čo na ňom bolo zaujímavé, čo bolo dobré, čo sme možno až tak nezvládli, teda tipy a triky na zlepšenie. A takisto budeme veľmi radi, ak opäť zošerujete túto informáciu, že máme na budúci týždeň workshop aj s vašimi kamošmi, nech sa pridajú. OK, pekný večer, ešte nedeľný prajeme. Majte sa, dovidenia, bye bye!
Bye. See you all.